Our next guest, you know him, you love him, you want to be like him, but you can't. Our exercise physiologist, Mark Goswell, who also, like our last guest, has committed to being here for the next 2 weeks, actually all up to Christmas week as well, so that's good.
Yeah, I love coming in here. It's the shining light of my life.
And it means I can talk to you instead of having to find someone else to talk to for a week.
Yeah, it makes your job easier.
Makes my job just a little bit easier in that last Christmas week, which is great. Mark, we've been asking for the last little while now for listeners who may have issues of with themselves that you may be able to try and cover and maybe get them back up on their feet. And today, literally, that is what we're trying to do with Diane from Western. Now, Diane has had her ankle fused twice, has no mobility and can't bend or squat. Now, do you have some suggestions, maybe starting from the very simple for Diane?
Yeah, look, we've had a number of clients that come in and had their ankles fused and I mean, it leads on from last week, obviously, talking about ankle mobility and squatting and how important it is. But sometimes when you've got injuries like this, it's about learning how to think outside of the square. And one of the things that we do a lot with clients that have got fused ankles is what we call the pole squat, a little bit of pole dancing, which sounds pretty cool, but it's...
There you go, Diane. You probably did not expect that to be the response. It's like, I can't move, I can't bend or twist. You told me to jump up on a pole. But
yeah, we're going to start pole dancing, but it's a little bit simpler than that. So what you would do is if you've... Oh, sugar.
There you go.
That was my Siri.
And all of a sudden, he's had to jump into arm movement because his phone watch is gone.
No. So with pole squats, what you want to do is you get either a door, like a pole out next to the pergola.
Yep.
And basically what you do is you hang on to that. So you get your feet as close to the pole as possible. Mm-hmm. Hang on to the pole so that you're actually leaning back into it. Now, what you can do from there is then just sit down as if you're sitting down on a chair.
Hang on. So you're at the pole, and now you're leaning away from the pole.
So you lean away from the pole, hang on, and the concept would be that if you were to let go, you'd 100% fall. Now, what that does is keeps your lower limb, so your shin bone, basically parallel with the pole. And as you squat down or sit back into the chair, you're actually not requiring any ankle mobility whatsoever, but you're still performing a squat, so you're still able to develop leg strength. You're still able to develop strength through the glutes, which is more important in terms of function, and then being able to reproduce that time and time again so that you can actually maintain some leg strength.
So as Diane becomes a little bit better with that, as she goes through that, there's some things that may be beyond that once she's got those basics of mobility back?
Yeah, so still using that concept, you can then extend it and then actually doing single-legged squats or step back. So again, keeping the affected leg in front, so close to the pole while you're hanging on. And then say it's the right foot that's the bad foot, keeping the right foot close to the pole, stepping back in a lunge-based position. So you're actually effectively doing a one-legged squat. And you still got that upper body support. You're still able to hold on so it's safe and it's effective. One of the other things you can do is what we call a sumo squat. So if you think about those big sumo wrestlers who have got pretty poor mobility, what they do is they have their feet turned out as wide as possible and are able to squat down that way. So again, we're minimising the amount of movement through the ankle that's required. We're putting it more into the hips.
All right, so when you say feet out, so you mean like the toes out, pointing out?
Yeah, like a duck position, but basically, you know, if your feet are normally shoulder width apart, take them well and truly outside shoulder width. So, you know, twice the width of your shoulder, feet turned out as far as you can, and do what we, as I said, that sumo squat position. It minimises the amount of need for ankle mobility, and again, we can keep doing those strengthening exercises through the legs.
As Diane and others go through these processes, and I really like that first one, the idea of just the pole squat, jumping back off the pole there, but is this, I know everyone's going to be different, but when do you feel she may, as a general rule, may be able to see that things are starting to improve?
Yeah, look, if she was to do, say, 3 sets of 15 pole squats and then some sumo squats and some step backs, and you're doing that once a day or every second day, you'd actually start to see functional benefits within about 3 to 4 weeks. So you'd actually start to notice some strength in the legs. And then, I mean, there's so many progressions because then you can step over to getting some type of elastic bands or power bands from any type of sports store. You get an ankle strap, put that around your ankle, and then you can start doing some like single-legged stance exercises where you're taking the leg out to the side, out to the front, and back against resistance. So there's always so many different options that you can do for exercises, particularly if you're injured. And it just takes, obviously, someone with experience to be able to think outside of the square a little bit and get away from those traditional notion of exercises that we see all the time that you obviously you have limitations with doing.
Well, I guess the problem is that if the reason that you have to ask the question is because you can't do what you normally do, so you have to find something else. You did mention about a 3-week window there, Mark, so I reckon, Diane, if you start doing those pole squats, you get the pole now and do the lean back, do that, maybe put the chair behind you. After 3 weeks, you'll be pole dancing.
Yes.
That's 3 weeks. So for Christmas.
Just for Christmas. It'll be great for the Christmas party. A couple of those little... What do we have for alcohol at Christmas? Whatever anyone drinks.
Whatever is your...
Bit in minimisation.
Just, yeah, we, as always, support the reasonable service and or consumption of alcohol. Diane, hope that helps you out. Mark Goswell, as always, a pleasure, mate. We'll catch you same time next Wednesday right here.
I'll be here a bit earlier.
2NURFM, a broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.